Hey, I've been an eating psychology coach for the last decade, and I would guess that the most common emotions, and especially the most common emotions for working people that drive them to overeat are these. I'm tired. I identify with this so keenly. When I'm tired, my eating is random. It's like a sort of scavenging, hungover, even if I'm not hungover person. And actually, studies show that when we're tired, our decision making is essentially of the caliber of a drunk person. And when you think about your eating in a day, it's hundreds of decisions. Should I eat this? Should I put this in my mouth or not? Right? Hundreds. So if our decision making capacity is completely depleted, then we're bound to overeat. So being tired has its problems, but the good news is that being tired, if you're struggling with weight or overeating in general, one of the kindest and most compassionate things you can do, instead of berating yourself for your habits, is actually work over there on your self-care and see if you can get more sleep. We do all of our fat burning while we're asleep. And that sleep will have such a profound effect on your sense of presence and your ability to be conscious in your body and your will to not say, to hell with it, when it comes to kind of being large and in charge of yourself as an eater. That's not quite what we're talking about here, though. We're talking about how when you talk to yourself and are having the feeling of being tired, how you can eat just to take the edge off that tired feeling. So many of my clients walk through the door at 5 or 6 o'clock in the evening and they are just beat. And they've got an evening ahead of them of food, washing, household, or maybe they have an evening ahead of them of not much, of loneliness and emptiness, right? And either way, that tiredness that they feel at that moment can be a real reason why they end up eating, to try and give them a lift, to try and give them some energy, right? And in a second, I'm going to tell you some really good self-talk to stop that tiredness being the deciding factor in whether or not you eat. The second emotion that I see people seeking a lot through food is reward. We work very hard. We're very busy people, and it's very easy for food to become the kind of punctuation points in the day, which are the fun parts, to become the treat, and everything else is the duty. Now, of course, the problem here is partly our sense of obligation and duty and the attitude with which we live the things that we've chosen, even our jobs. Yes, we might be trying to earn a wage so that we can fund boring stuff like electricity and put shoes on our kids and all the rest of it. But ultimately, we choose that. I chose to have kids. I choose to try and provide footwear for them. I love electricity. It's so helpful and looks nice and helps me be able to have an evening, right? And so trying to stay in the choosing of it and not drift into, oh God, everything I do is out of sacrifice, will help us not feel like food is the reward for the day. And the harder done by that we feel and the less appreciated in our lives, the more we're going to try and give ourselves love in a symbolic and metaphorical way with treats. The third emotion that I see people coming to me to work a lot with is loneliness. And that's partly because I wrote a blog post on Tiny Buddha many, many years ago about my loneliness at school. And that was really the origin of my attempts to control my eating, which backfired into binge eating. In a moment, I'll talk about how loneliness is not just a situation that you're suffering, but also a state of mind, and how we can use our self-talk to try and ease the unchosen solitude that we might find ourselves in. And the fourth thing is stress, anxiety, overwhelm, that feeling of fear, urgency, panic, right? The person with the huge to-do list. I'll tell you my favorite self-talk to try and ease those emotions too, because the better we can talk ourselves through the emotions, the less we are resorting to food to ameliorate them. We can be our own balm to them by giving ourselves some of what we need emotionally. We can give ourselves some reward. We can give ourselves a pick-me-up. We can comfort ourselves when we're lonely. We can help ourselves out of overwhelm with our thinking. That's the cognitive behavioral way. But before we try and think our way out of those emotions, I want to give you one more tool. I want to just give you the experience of mindfully feeling an emotion and not trying to fix it at all, just letting it process through your body, letting it pass through. All right? You want to try this? I'll talk you through it next video.